They'll try every dirty trick in the book to get back at you.
In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to reveal your identity.
I hope this is as close to hell as I'll ever get.
Good evening, and welcome to the Warren Files Declassified. I'm coming to you this evening from Lima, Peru. It's one of the most amazing places. The history here, the artifacts, the amazing architecture, the mysteries that are here. This is truly a place to visit, not to mention the food. Honestly, didn't have any idea, but Peru is one of the greatest food capitals of the world. Matter of fact, 2 of the 10 top restaurants in the world are right here in Lima. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. No, we're talking about the Satanic statue in the Warren Museum. Now, this is one of my cases, and it took place about 30 years ago. It was tough, to be quite honest. It was interesting. Not terribly complicated in its own way, but it was something out of a TV show or a movie, honestly. You may have seen this statue in photos. It stands about 7.5, 8 feet tall, big horns, and it's god ugly. It's just this, it looks like it was made by an amateur. But that came from our case. About 30 years ago, a little more than 30 years ago. I was about 24, I'm guessing. 24 or 25, right after I came back from Africa. And my grandparents got a call from this pregnant woman and her husband, and they were having problems. The husband was going into this fugue state. He was acting irrationally. He was getting violent. There was activity going on in the house that they weren't terribly specific about at the time. And my grandparents decided to send me and my partner at the time to check it out. Well, we decided to spend the first night there. And the woman was 8 months pregnant. They had no children at the time. I did notice as we were walking in, there was a funeral home next door. Now, this is in Newtown, Connecticut. I grew up in Newtown. I knew this street very, very well. And I didn't think too much of that funeral home at the time, but my grandparents did. When we met, we had a very nice evening. We got all of the basic information. We understood that it was more about what the husband was going through and that the wife was terrified. So that night, they went to bed, and we were across the hall in the guest bedroom, directly across the hall. And it was my cousin and I, and we were sleeping there. And I'm guessing it was about midnight. We were woken by the woman screaming. And my cousin panicked, and he started shaking me, saying, she's screaming, she's screaming. I said, I know, get out of my way. And I pushed him on the floor to get past him. And when I ran across the hall, her husband was levitating above her and under possession. No wonder she was terrified. I mean, even if he wasn't under possession, just the fact that he was levitating over a pregnant woman is terrifying. I immediately jumped and I ran, I jumped, and I did a flying tackle. And we hit the other side of the bed, rolled off and onto the floor. Luckily, I ended up on top. And I'm screaming, by the power of Jesus Christ, I command you to be gone, over and over again. My cousin finally came in behind me, and he's throwing holy water on the man and echoing what I'm saying. And we were able to get him out of it. Now, we stayed another night, the next night. I should say, obviously, everything went fine after that, for that night. As a matter of fact, they went to bed together after that, which, man, that woman is brave. But we stayed another night, my cousin and I, and when we were leaving in the morning, there were 4 men in a car waiting for us. And as we got in our car, they started following us. Now, as I said, I grew up in Newtown, Connecticut, and I know the roads really well. So I was able to lose them. But it turns out, well, you'll find out. I'm guessing 2 weeks later. Oh, by the way, my cousin never went back after that. I actually asked somebody else to come in and help me. And we never actually saw any more activity. But we knew that the house needed to be cleansed and there needed to be an exorcism. But a couple of weeks later, before we were able to arrange everything, there was a hunter in the back, in the woods in the back of the house. And he came across what looked like a stone altar with wax and blood and, well, maybe blood, you know. It looked to him like blood. And there were other things there as well, plus this giant statue behind the altar. It was obvious that this was being used for satanic rituals. My grandmother was certain that, and my grandfather agreed, that these Satanists were using the energy. They were using necromancy. They were using the energy of the dead from that funeral home. And there was spillover to this family because they were very vulnerable at that point in their lives. Well, we got a hold of Bishop McKinnell. He was the man that we worked with very often. He was about a quarter of a mile from my grandparents' house. As a matter of fact, my grandparents are buried in his graveyard. Now, he's no longer with us either, which is a shame because, honestly, the 2 holiest men I've ever met in my life are Bishop McKinnell and the Dalai Lama. And they both glowed. They were just amazing, deeply spiritual people. So anyway, he went in, he did the house cleansing, he did the exorcism, we assisted, and everything was fine afterward. Whatever went on with those Satanists, well, obviously we contacted the police, and they investigated, but as far as I know, they were never caught, never found. Now, I'm guessing it was 2 or 3 days after the news broke about my grandmother dying. And I got a phone call. And it was the woman. And she is now a grandmother. She has 4 children, 4 grandchildren, and she's remarried to a different man. And she wanted to thank me and my family for all we had done for her. And, you know, obviously the death of my grandmother brought it up for her. So the next time you're looking at it, yeah, that's ours. Now, we're going to be getting into some very interesting cases very soon, but I'm also going to be sharing with you my visits to Machu Picchu. I've got an amazing water and light show from here in Lima that, honestly, it's extraordinary. The imagery that they projected onto these colorful lights, they showed the animated history of Peru in imagery, and you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. Please, obviously, if you can help us by sharing our other videos online or our messages from the Warren Legacy Foundation on Facebook, every time you do that, we can hopefully reach people who need our help. That's what we want the most. Also, I want to set up a question and answer period with you folks. So one of my guys is working on that right now, and we'll schedule that, and hopefully I can get you guys to come join me. I'll see you soon. God bless you, and thank you again for your support. You have no idea how much that helps.
My name is Lorraine Warren.
Devils and demons and evil spirits. They'll try every dirty trick in the book to get back at you.
In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to reveal your identity.
I hope this is as close to hell as I'll ever get.